Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are here at the pages of the Purple Passion. At this time, we will be going into the saga of Caught Up. This is the third part. Now, last we left off, Darlene had caught Max looking in the window, and she did away with Max, fed him to the dog. Then Josephine met her twin sister that she hadn't seen in 20 years, Maybelline. Now let's see. After that, they had agreed to get together for some drinks. What will happen next in the exciting twists and turns of Caught Up? Now, as you know, Josephine and Maybelline had agreed to get together for some drinks and catch up on old times. Well, while all this was going on, Silky was plotting and planning to see who she planned to make her new cash cow and sugar daddy, Jacob. She called him on the phone, sure to have sexy dripping from her tone as she lured Jacob in like the deadly confines of a Venus flytrap. What a way to be caught up. "Hey, Daddy," she cooed as she heard him answer on the other end of the line. Jacob was dumb and giddy and blushed all over himself when he heard Silky's voice. Hey, babe," his voice squeaky and raspy. Silky wrinkled her nose on the other end of the phone. It was hard to get in the freak zone when you were trying to get freaky with just when who you were trying to get freaky with just was not sexy. But Silky had a plan. She grinned and bared it and put the jit into play. Continuing with her sexy tone, she said to Jacob, "I was wondering whether we could get together, me and you, this evening, fine sir. Is that a problem?" Jacob stammered and stumbled over his words, blushing the whole time. No pudding, ja. Squeak, 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 ja. Well, what time should we meet? Ja. Trying not to gurgitate in her mouth, Silky grinned harshly and said, "Oh, about 8-ish. Is that okay, Dad?" Jacob was reeling with giddiness now. Silky had him going. His manhood was at full attention, and he was hoping Silky might lay something on him when they saw each other tonight. Okay, Silky Sugar. Hey, 8 o'clock it is. I'll pick you up and we can go somewhere nice. Okay, Foxy man, Silky charmed Jacob, and it was on like a hillbilly bonfire. Silky planned on whipping Jacob with the cat and the brain game to butter him up for a short take. Poor Jacob, in his mind, though he wasn't exactly sure, he went from just wanting to pluck Silky to thinking she might be the one to leave Josie for. And ain't that nothing? What a way to get caught up. Promptly at 6 p.m., Josie and Maybelline met at the Down Home Bistro located at the Winston County Hotel, not far from where Josie and Jacob resided. Maybelline was tickled pink to see Josie. However, though she feigned excitement when she saw Maybelline, Josephine couldn't care less whether the meeting had taken place or not. She loved her sister, but damn if she liked her. She could have definitely taken the meeting or left it with no emotion at all. Anyway, they ate and made conversation about past, present, and future. Maybelline was taken aback when Joseph said she was divorcing Jacob. Josephine Odessa Carlisle, I know I'm not hearing this shit right. Your ass ain't leaving Covey. You are jitting me for sure. Maybelline laughed, slapping her hand on the table at which her and Josephine sat. Josephine spoke up. Child, I'm tired of his old broke down tail. He can't pluck me right no more. His Peter done got all soft and whatnot. Child, please. Josephine carried on. She had Maybelline dying with laughter, and it was easier due to the fact that the both of them were buzzing from the black Russians they'd been sipping on. As the subject of Josie's leaving Jacob ended, Josephine brought up the fact that Maybelline had left Daryl, saying, I thought your old dick drunk ass was never going to leave Daryl, but you did, though. You did, Josie ended with a chuckle and a grin. I did finally leave his dumb pompous ass. The ninja did have some good dick, though. But Levi's is better, honey. Levi's is so way better, Maybelline said with a momentary reminiscent gaze that didn't get past Josephine. Damn, wench, he got you in the days like that already? To Joseph's question, all Maybelline could do was blush and smirk. Well, Josephine continued, your ass is not the only one getting dick down in a good way, heifer. She then flicked the picture of Victor on the table for Maybelline to look at. When Maybelline saw the picture, the sip of black Russian she took, she quickly spat out. Josephine was puzzled as Maybelline covered her mouth and rose up from the table. Maybe, baby, what? Josephine asked in shock. You know him, maybe? You recognize him? Josie continued, asking appalled. Then, with her hands and voice trembling, Maybelline choked out, Wench! Wench, that's my mother-loving son! You're plucking your nephew, wench! Needless to say, Josephine was beside herself and speechless. Not knowing what else to do, Josie downed the black Russian with one last long swallow. Josephine would surely have been meeting her maker. Maybelline didn't have daggers, but guillotines in her eyes. Don't look at me like that, wench. I ain't know. How could I? Josephine said, feeling 1,000 things and thinking 1,000 things at once. He's still way too young for you to be plucking. You a damn cradle robber. He old enough to be your son, Maybelline shouted, tears now forming in her eyes. Which, don't judge me, Josephine pushed through her teeth. I wouldn't knowingly do my own nephew, wench. Though she wasn't through with her sister, Maybelline was truly heated, grabbed her purse and jet, called the waitress over to pay her bill, and left Josie to stew in her own rotten, guilty juices. Meanwhile, it was nearing 8 o'clock, and Jacob was gearing up to see Silky, while Silky was preparing to do the same with Jacob. The two met to chat, eat, and drink at a spot called Triggers on the north side of Winston City. Jacob was sure to set the date up, miles away from home, that no one he knew would see him with Silky sooner than he wanted to be seen with her. This included Josephine, especially Josephine. Jacob arrived at exactly 8 p.m. sharp, while Silky was fashionably late at 8:15. Both looked nice, and as usual, Silky's makeup was envied by the deities. Yes, God. When Silky saw Jacob, she was sure to hug him so her chest pressed up against his own, allowing him to feel her soft, thick bustiness. The full-on body hug did just what Silky wanted it to do and made Jacob rise to the occasion. After their quiet greeting, Silky broke the ice. "What you think we should do once we leave here, Daddy?" I don't care to stay too long. "I would prefer to be with you alone." To this, Jacob nodded and couldn't help but blush all over himself. The attention Silky was giving him, he hadn't received in years, and it made him feel like a man again. It made him feel noticed and alive, even though Silky was full of it. Reading Silky's antsy body language and hearing and understanding what she said previously, Jacob called to the waiter and ordered he and Silky's meal to go. It was a move Silky definitely appreciated, be it because it would enable Silky to put her plan of action into play more quickly. After leaving Triggers, Jacob and Silky checked into the Midnight Blue Inn that actually wasn't too far from where they'd met up. Jacob had made arrangements previously to avoid having to figure things out last minute. When they arrived to their chosen room, Silky wasted no time getting down to the nitty-gritty. She gently gripped Jacob's face at his sideburns and mouthed the words, "I want you." Jacob's manhood was at full attention, and at this moment, not negating the on and off times it had been since the two of them had met at Triggers. Putting her mind over the matter, Silky shoved her tongue down Jacob's throat. Jacob was in a state of ecstasy and pure shock. This jit was surreal as a mother lover, and he truly never wanted it to end. As she tongued her prospective sugar daddy down, Silky gently tugged at Jacob's manhood, and she also undid his zipper. Once it was undone, her gentle tugging at Jacob became a hard but good-feeling yank. Jacob was good and hard now. He was to the ready like mama's sauce on spaghetti, for real. Seeing as Silky, had Jacob's full attention, Silky teased him just a little by backing away from Jacob and standing and staring at him. She mesmerized him when she slowly did a full-on split down to the floor and then began sloppy, salivary, gushy fellatio. Never one to be caught slipping, Silky slid the Jimmy hat on while she was in the act of slicking up the dick. Jacob had never had brain this good, not even in his high school or college days. He threw his head back and grunted and snorted in utmost pleasure. As Silky was in beast mode, she wasn't mindful of Jacob's animalistic sounds that weren't hardly sexy at all. She was on a mission to make Jacob Carlisle, a.k.a. Cash Cow of Silky Sabrina Albright, and from the looks of it, her awesome plan was taking shape and coming, however you want to spell it, coming into being, or shall I say, fruition. Just as Jacob seemed ready to unload on and or in Silky, she pulled off his rod. Jacob was breathing hard and somewhat confused in a state of oblivious feel-good sensation. When Silky threw herself on the bed and slapped herself on the ass as she took on the doggy-style position, Jacob knew just what to do. As he pumped into Silky's wetness that she'd already prepared earlier, Silky threw her fat ass back to Jacob, which made his climax quick and powerful. He howled like a rabid dog as he let loose his juices in Silky's warm and sinuous honey pot. As he panted and collapsed on his back, Silky sexily and softly said, "You want to go again?" Jacob smiled and chuckled lightly at the thought, and Silky showed on her face a toothless and sinister grin, her knowing she'd struck gold as she had planned to all along. Meanwhile, in Winston County, "Fudge you mean I'm fudging my auntie, Ma? Are you sick? You out your mind or something?" Victor paced his mother's hotel room floor as she revealed to him the appalling veracity of him and Josephine's fling. Maybelline spoke up, saying as she puffed on the cigarette, "Boy, whenever I done lied to you, you ain't know that was your aunt because you ain't never met her. And though we twins, it ain't like we identical. So, you had no fucking idea, Ninja. But it's true. It's all fudging true. And I need you to hear me and good and stop this shit you've been carrying on." "Okay, Ma, all right. I'll tell her tonight. I know about this shit. I ain't know about this shit. Shit. Victor hollered as he slammed his fist into one of the cabinets in the kitchenette in the hotel room. It scared Maybelline, the bang and all, but she was glad the truth was out, and would deal with her sister with a long-handled spoon from here on out. 2 weeks later, Darlene was found unalive, her and the dog. Due to the mysterious circumstances of her being unalived, the forensics team brought in a psychic investigator. It seems not Max, but his mother stepped forward to avenge her son's victimization. When Darlene saw Victor's mother's spirit, she threw herself through her bedroom window. There was no real explanation for the fatality of the Rottweiler. Old Shelley lied with her eyes open, her canine soul gone the way of Doggy Paradise, perhaps. Looks like Darlene didn't get away with it this time. It seems she got most certainly caught up. Tune in next time, y'all, when we find out just what will be going on in these streets of Winston County.